Welcome to Those Guys Sports. It is your boy Mike, and I have to do a Raptors video overall. So with my Raptors videos, I think the main thing I want to talk about is Pascal Siakam. So this video won't be too long, kind of somewhat like a podcast, but a little bit just me just talking the way I talk. But first and foremost, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Make sure you comment. This Raptors team has become a little bit more interesting. I'm doing this before the Raptors face the Sacramento Kings. Please make sure you guys like, comment. Not only that, I want to also say that I also do sports betting videos with Raptors Republic. So please make sure you guys follow Raptors Republic. Like the content, comment on the content. There's so much great podcasts that's going on. I'm literally watching a podcast from Raptors Republic right now. Just continue supporting Raptors overall, the Raptors content. Just everyone who does anything, just support it. There's so much people in the spaces that talk Raptors and talk ball in general. And if you talk ball and you like basketball and just like the community's wide and open, man. Let's just talk ball. I know sometimes basketball can be a hella toxic. I know that. It can be, but the things that we talk about and say about these guys and girls sometimes, it gets really bad. It gets really bad. But sometimes you just gotta lay it out and just have some fun. And right now, Raptors fans are having a lot of fun. But the first, like I said, I'm gonna mainly talk about the Raptors, but the few things I want to talk about in regards, I want to talk about Pascal, but the main thing is with this trade, I really like the fit. I actually like the fit a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably my favorite part about this whole deal is that I like the fit. OG right now is a better player than RJ Barrett and quickly. Like I can say that because OG's defense is better than both. OG's ability to shoot the three is better. No, well, OG just gives you a lot defensively, and he gives you things offensively, and it's better than RJ Barrett's overall package. Now, but the thing this Raptor team needs, mind you, you definitely need defense. But what RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly do, they also give you additional offense. RJ Barrett is someone who, if the offense is being stagnant, he's a guy that can barrel his body down the lane and get a basket or get fouled. He's someone who can create fouls. A lot of people have already spoken about DeMar DeRozan's comparison. The crazy thing is that RJ Barrett had DeMar DeRozan comparison in college. So that's one of the reasons why we're seeing so much similarities in DeMar and RJ Barrett's game. So I overall like the fit. I love Emmanuel quickly. I was doing a podcast with my boy YS. Make sure you guys watch the DM podcast as well on the same channel. And we post every Mondays. It's legit. Uh, and he reminded me that I picked quickly to be the sixth man of the year. Well, that's probably not going to happen anymore. But the fact that I picked him, I forgot. I've actually always been very high on Emmanuel quickly. I think his scoring effort is one of the top in the league. But he needs the reps, and he's playing with backups, right? And he's playing against backups as well. So he's just been a better backup than other people's backups. But now he's starting, so now he really has to show that role. It's gonna take time. Raptor fans, please do not don't think he's gonna be Tyrese Maxey this year. He's not. Next year, oh, I'm putting down a most improved player for Emmanuel quickly. I'm seeing it. That's what we gotta kind of want and look for. This year, we just want him to kind of get his feet wet, right? But I like it. I like his addition with a Scotty, with a Pascal. They needed a guard like this. As much as I loved Fred VanVleet on the team for what I thought it could have been, this is also a perfect type of guard. I've always said the Raptors always need a guard. I mentioned guys like Bradley Beal and heck Zach LaVine. I just feel if the Raptors had a more dynamic guard, they would be much better. I always said if Gary Trent Jr. was better, if he was just better, if he was at the level of OG, I think I said the last pod. If Gary Trent Jr. was at the level of an OG, like in how good he is, we wouldn't need then Gary Trent would start with his team would be fine. We have to just work on the bench. But Emmanuel quickly future, I think his ceiling is higher than a Gary Trent. So that's why Emmanuel quickly gets all the love he gets. He's maybe the point guard of our future. Um, I'm not. Masai's always been a very honest guy, and so is Bobby. I think Bobby's pretty honest as well. Then I'll be honest too. If I got Emmanuel quickly and I'm talking to him, I'm saying, hey, let's be honest here. I didn't bring you here to not be the star. We didn't bring you here to not be the next great Raptor point guard. We didn't do that. We brought you to do that. We brought you here to you and Scotty to lead this team to a title. We brought you guys here to be the next pseudo Jokic and Murray. That's what we brought you here. We brought you here to be the Chris Middleton to the future Giannis and Barnes, if we believe Barnes has that Giannis type future, which I think a lot of us believe that Barnes is. He's still the future. Like that's who the team is revolving around. And it's so evident that you are. I listened to the Raptors show with William and Blake Murphy, and Dennis was saying that the team is built around Scotty, or what's going to make Scotty better, which once again, it's so weird that like, and I get it, they're building around Victor. But Victor's team is like a bunch of young guys still. Even like Vassell and Johnson are pretty young. But it's like this team is known that we're building around Scotty. We're building. Like, yeah, Pascal is doing his great, and he's been great the past like 5 weeks, but we're building around Scotty. Everyone should know that. That's what I think the tension was last year with Scotty versus Nick Nurse and Fred. Because it was like the the top up were saying it's Scotty's team, and they were saying like you can tell that's where a lot of the tension was, if they want to add to it or not. That's what it looked like. But yeah, overall, I love the fit. I want to talk about the toxic asset in RJ Barrett a little bit. So the thing with RJ, I'll make it quite simple. The thing with RJ is that if you if you take away the fact that he was a third overall pick, you'll be fine with his game. And I think that's what Raptor fans have to do. So NBA fans have to do when it comes to RJ Barrett. Once we stop thinking he's supposed to be this like number 3 overall pick, mind you, look at draft picks that number 3 overall. We're not talking that great of a list of guys that stand out. Like it's a miss. I always think drafting is become also overrated because you look at the top 10 in a lot of drafts, you're never going 1 through 10. You're never doing it. So it doesn't happen. I always talk about the fact that you look at the history of drafts, 1, 2, and 3 never make it to the all-star game. It just happened more recently with Jalen, Brandon, and Ben Simmons. But now you redo that draft. Yeah, you may argue that Ben Simmons is top 10, but when the years keep coming, and you may not put Ben Simmons in your top 10. That just almost happened by chance. Last time it happened again was like I think it was like late 90s, maybe early 2000s. Number 1, 2, 3, it doesn't normally happen, and it's just the case now. RJ just not the guy that they wanted him to be. Also, I think him joining the Knicks didn't help, especially if you're the first 2 guys is Zion and Ja, 2 guys who made all NBAs, who made all stars. You're like, if you're in New York, you're more disappointed in RJ, which maybe that's the problem, right? It's that the expectations that people had of RJ wasn't great. It wasn't you guys people almost wanted too much from RJ. Just wanted too much. He's just not this is not his type of game. He's just not him in that sense. He's just not he may not be your best player. But I also think RJ has a lot of capability to be your hey, if you have a superstar, he could be your second best player. He could definitely be your third, and he could definitely be your fourth. The way I look at this team, it's way too early. I'm just talking shit. Just a Raptor fan that's happy that they won 2 in a row. If Scotty is one day going to be your Jokic, well, Maxi's your Murray. The Pascal and Porter is kind of a tricky situation. Maybe a Pascal and Aaron Gordon, but then you still have your RJ Barrett who could be your Aaron Gordon or somebody like you're deeper now, right? And that's what this overall team is. And RJ Barrett can bring you a guy, like I said, can go downhill. He can exploit a mismatch as well. He's strong. He can get fouled, and that's what you need. And I think for this team, you need more guys that have the ability to get fouled. It mixes well with the 2 guys. I also can see RJ Barrett, especially if you keep Pascal. If you keep Pascal, I can definitely see this happening. RJ's efficiency is going to go up because he's not going to touch the ball as much, only when he's facing probably second units where you may ask him to create more. But he's not really going to go against second units like that. No, but he'll just be more efficient because It's crazy how he went from the third option in New York and he comes to Toronto, now he's the fourth. Him and Quickly have completely changed what they want. Everyone knows that like the pecking order is we're gonna get Scotty and Pascal are gonna touch the ball the most. But now we've just announced that Quickly still touching the ball third. And then it's probably Dennis. And then RJ and Gary Trent Jr., you're gonna get in when you fit it. You got an open shot, you better hit it. RJ, like I said, is going to be the type of guy that if you're stagnant, you want him to have the ball. The one thing I want, and this kind of gets to the next thing, I see people already talking about Scotty's usage or Scotty's being the number one defender on opposing team's best player. I may be the few that's like that's fine with it. Scotty's 22. Let him build a defensive category. Let him continue on overall with people. Let Scotty get the reps. Ultimately speaking, let's got to get the reps. Now, in saying that, in the future, do I want that for Scotty? No. I'm hoping it may not be this year, probably next year. I'm hoping RJ Barrett becomes the team's actual stopper. He has the height, he has the size, he doesn't probably have the same quickness as RJ as Scotty Barnes, but he could be a pretty good defender. And if if you want to, and mind you, Archie Barrett's not a bad defender. The New York Knicks have a top defense, and of course Thibodeau's way style of playing, but his starting unit was still R.J. Barrett, Jalen Brunson, who's not the greatest defensive player in the world at all. Julius Randle's not a great defender at all. He's good, he's not great. So like all these guys who you had Mitchell Robinson on the back end, which made things better when you have that center, but Thibodeau just got the best out of him, but now you're asking RJ to be the fourth option and ultimately just play defense. So I just think that if RJ was if he was your main defender on the Jaylen Brown, on a Tatum, those guys are gonna go crazy anyway. The thing with this league, is guys are scoring no matter what. I've seen LeBron guard Yami Jaquez last game when the Lakers were facing the Miami Heat, and LeBron was guarding him pretty well, and he still shot over him. He still shot over him. Guys are still getting their points. These guys got a lot better offensively. I thought the Raptors played a pretty good defense on John Morant. The man still scored 28 points. Like, you can play defense as much as you want. The man's still going to score buckets. Yeah, OG stopped Anthony Edwards in that game before. We didn't stop him. I think they still had 20 plus points. Like, you're not stopping these guys. You're just maintaining these guys. You're hoping that these guys don't go off. But these guys are so talented in this league nowadays that you take what you can, and whatever whatever you can do, you can do. So you're not really stopping guys like that. That's the one thing I want to say. You're not really stopping guys like that, especially good players. They're going to score 20 points. A good player is going to score 20. So kind of have to live with those. But yeah, I would want RJ to be more of that. I want RJ to be the guy that says, you know what, like Barnes, Pascal, and Quickly are our main scorers. They're the guys that were looking to score 20 plus points a game. Okay, I'll guard Jason Tatum. He still may score 30, but it's gonna be a hard 30. It's gonna be an 8 of 20 30. It's not gonna be it's not gonna be a 9, a 12, 16, 20. Or 12, 16, 30. Those are two different 30s. There's a hard 30 and there's like a easy 30. You want to make sure that he's not as efficient. You want to make sure that you just make it hard on them. That's all. You make it hard. You make Jason Tatum go 8 of 25. He probably still going to score 30. He'll get some defense. You get fouled on, blah blah blah, all that stuff. He's an elite player, so he's going to get points, especially to the line. But you just got to play hard on them, and then that's what I would want RJ to do. I really want RJ's game to transform into that. If you ask me, again, I'm still gonna be team extend Pascal. I think Pascal fits with this team. I love the new nickname, Spicy Barbecue. That's fire. That is fire. I don't know who created the name, but I'm in. I'm in Spicy Barbecue era. Let's do it. People talk about Pascal's age. Talking about Pascal's age, Jimmy Butler got signed, and you can say Jimmy Butler and Pascal are not the same. Jimmy Butler is playoffs, whatever. But for this team, going forward, the cap's going to go up. People are talking about you can't pay all four guys. You can look at like I don't know why people are worried about that stuff. You can pay them. There's no question. What you need to do instead is make sure that your bench is better. In the championship year, look at the contracts. Kawhi was getting a high amount. Kyle's getting a high amount. Serge and Mark are getting a higher amount. Then Pascal's getting like 9 million. Then Fred's getting like you need to make sure that you plenish your bench with a bunch of young guys on cheap contracts. That's what you have to do. That's why you need a Grady Dick to form well. That's why you want to actually see if John Porter can be something. I think he definitely can. I think he can definitely be a guy who plays like 12 to 15 minutes a game in this league, especially if he can shoot the three at a consistent level. You can't tell me he can't. But you will need to have guys on the minimum, young guys and all that other stuff. So eventually, maybe you have to trade them, whatever. But at least you have young guys on the minimum. That's what you kind of need draft capital, especially when you have your guys established. You're paying RJ. You're going to pay quickly 25 mil. You eventually you got to pay Scotty, which people are so worried about the paying of Scotty. The way Scotty's contract is, I don't believe he's going to have to get paid until not this season. I think it's the following season. So you know, Pascal will already be like 2 years left on his deal when Scotty has to get paid. So, and that's the time, if you think about it, that's going to be Scotty's prime time. That's going to be Quickly's prime time. That's when we, as Raptor fans, should be expecting this team to be like darn near the top of the East, right? So why wouldn't you want to keep a Pascal who at that time will be a really good third or fourth option, may go back down to his role of like a really good energy guy who plays solid defense. But now with his offensive skill, if he can kind of just be as consistent, with his layups and his post moves, you still got a nice third guy. And then you still have RJ Barrett, like who, if anything, you may switch them and go like to me, you keep it. I think you keep these four guys. Yak has played a lot better with these guys because he has a pick and roll partner. He also, I think when you have an OG, you can get lazy on defense because you're so confident that OG is going to do a great job. And it's one of those things that just kind of happens sometimes. But OG's just so good at defense and he's such a plus minus darling. So he's always going to be good. And it's not a bad thing to have him. But Yak now knows, okay, I'm the defensive anchor now. Like I'm really the defense. I'm arguably the best defender on the team, overall because I can block shots. My post defense is good. Like overall, I'm good. They can just exploit me if they do a pick and roll. I get that, but that's what Yak can do. But you can pay all those guys. You can even pay a Yak, and you just have to make sure that your bench is replenished with a bunch of minimums. You may can pay one guy like $12 million, but then everyone else has to kind of get paid like 5 mil. That's the Grady Dicks and the future, the 31st pick you're about to have. That's Koloko once he can get healthy. Like that's who you guys have, and then you're always gonna have those guys who you know are in the league that kind of get moved away from a team that you're willing to pay. Like Kelly Oubre scored 20 points and he's on a vet min. Like Beasley's a guy who at one point I think would average like 16 points a game. He's on a vet min. Like you can get players on a veteran minimum. You just can. It's just that's the way the league is. And if you have a bunch of talent who's going to be in their peaks at that time, you're good. You look at the Boston Celtics, look at theirs. They're paying Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps is getting paid. So is Derek White getting a good amount. Like everyone, let me quickly look at Boston Celtics contract. My whole point is that you can pay everybody. That's my whole point. My whole point is not to say that like, oh, because Pascal's contract, like you are unable to do things. Okay, so in Boston, you know who gets paid the most in Boston? Do you want to know? It's Drew Holiday. Gets paid 36 mil. Then it's Kristaps who also gets 36 mil. So your two best players don't get paid the most money. And Drew Holiday has a player option. I'm pretty sure they're going to extend him. Maybe on a smaller amount of deal, but they're going to definitely extend him. And then even like, wow, Jaylen Brown's contract is crazy. But eventually Jason Tatum has to get paid again. And that's the following year. But I think they can send to an extension next off season. So you have 36, 36, 32. Jaylen Brown's getting 31 before his deal kicks into the 49. Derek White is getting 18. Al Horford's getting 10. Pritchard is getting 4. And then you have everybody else on the team getting $2 million. So don't worry about paying them. If you want to pay them, you'll pay them. If you want to pay them, you will pay them. So it really doesn't matter. If you want to pay them, they will get paid. But overall, I do like the thought that I like the thought of keeping Pascal. I think this was only 2 games, but the Memphis Grizzlies is a good team, and you beat them. Heck, the Cavs are a good team. I thought them not having Garland and Mobley was gonna hurt them. I was thinking, okay, maybe it's time that they look at Donovan Mitchell. They're a good team. Donovan Mitchell is a winner. He's an and I like Donovan Mitchell a lot. He's like one of my favorite shooting guards of the league. He is a winner in the off season, not off season, during the season. He's a winner. He can win games, and he still has a quality team. That team, it's probably gonna be in the play-in, and if they're the eighth seed or a seventh seed, they're gonna give a team some fight. They're gonna give a team a fight, and especially if Mobley can get better, like they're a good team. I really like that team overall. What else do I want to talk about? Raptors. Yeah, of course, back to Pascal. You you have to you have to realize that, like, okay, and I see a lot of Raptor fans talk about Pascal, like, oh, like he should want to he's hurting the team. I saw one person like, oh, Pascal's being selfish and he's hurting the team. First of all, look at it like this. Pascal is literally being told, we don't see you in our future. We would like to trade you. But the other team needs you to commit to like staying there. Why the hell would I commit to staying to a place I don't want to stay? You're trading me to Atlanta. I don't want to go to Atlanta. You're trading me to Sacramento. You don't want to go to Sacramento. That's a pretty good team. But like, I don't want to go to certain places. You can't just trade me to a team that I don't want to be at. I'm gonna explore free agency. Now, this is the whole Pascal trade thing. So I may go all over the place. Pascal trade value is down now, right? If I'm Sacramento, I want Pascal, but I'm not trading Keegan Murray for him. Keegan Murray, who's on a shorter deal, who I don't have to pay for the next like 2.5, 3 years. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Heck, even Atlanta, I'm telling you right now, Pascal's not staying in Atlanta. They would have to offer him the jackpot. The man is not staying in Atlanta. He's not staying in Atlanta. That's just not his character. He's not. Pascal wants to be here. There's multiple reasons why. The main reason why Pascal wants to be here because he's one of those people who's super comfortable, right? And from where he's from, and like he just doesn't want to move a lot. So you can want to move Pascal you want. That's not him. So does he hurt his trade value? Yeah. Who else could want? Maybe yeah, if the Jazz wanted him, you may have to. You'd have to get like Clarkson's contract and all that stuff. Like that would hurt you. That would hurt them. Why would they want that? Like the leverage play is just not there. So part of me does think Pascal could get traded, right? But they're also going to see how this team gels. If this team is like 2 games behind 500, closer to the deadline, or if they're even 3 games, I don't see Masai pulling the trigger. They're too close. They're too close to being good. It basically shows you that, like, if this team made this deal early enough, this team would be right in the thick of things. And that's exactly where you want to be. Offensively, this team is good. If Quickly can perform and Scotty can perform, this team is right where you want it to be. And you believe in this team. And maybe it's not the right time to make that big move yet, where you may have to trade a Pascal for another superstar player that's disgruntled or something. So you don't make that move, right? Maybe this team can perform well. I honestly think if this team beats the Kings, we may see a little bit of a streak until they face the Clippers, because I do think they can beat the Warriors on Sunday, and I think they can beat the Lakers. So just a 5 game winning streak for the Raptors. But I'm just being happy. I'm just being a little crazy. Now, the one thing I also want to mention with trading Pascal, and I would want people to realize this in regards to trading Pascal, the players you get back. Now, what do you want back? What do you want back for Pascal? That's a huge question overall. Whoever you want back for Pascal needs to now fit the timeline, not the timeline, the goal of Emmanuel Quickly and Scotty Barnes. Now, a team needs to be organized. Not everyone can be the star. I've said this multiple times. Winning teams are organized as hell. Go back to the 2019 Raptors. They were organized. They were a very organized team. They had Kawhi, you had Kyle, you had Pascal, you had Serge, Mark, Fred. Like everyone knew their role. When you know your role, the teams will win. Look at the Clippers now. They know their role. They know it's Kawhi, PG, Harden. Everyone else gets their touch. When Norm is in, Norm, you're meant to shoot. When you get open shot, shoot that ball. When you're organized, it's good. It's good. Jokic, Murray, Porter, Aaron Gordon, like we're organized. KCP, Reggie Jackson, when you come in, be energetic, be aggressive. It's good. So now, the reason why I feel so strongly about this, you trade Pascal, let's go to the Atlanta deal, right? It's the worst deal to me. Or even the Warriors is actually worse. Let me go. But Atlanta, people are talking about Kobe Buffkin, AJ Griffin, all that stuff. Okay. Well, you put Kobe Buffkin in. You have Emmanuel quickly. The thing with the Raptors cannot do now is over complicate their roster again. You just got you had a bunch of forwards. You kind of trade your forwards, now they're kind of smaller. And now your team's more balanced. But what you're going to do now is get a bunch of guards again. Then you need bigs again. Like, why have Emmanuel Quickly, Kobe Buffkin, AJ Griffin, DeAndre Hunter? Like, you're just overvaluing, or you're overdoing the same value again. Now you're just doing with guards. So now we're going 6-6 on. Like, it doesn't make sense. You cannot do that. Don't have the same player all the time. You have to have a mixture of players. You have to have some forward, some guard. You need to mix this. You know, Gilbert Arenas talked about positionless basketball, and I think he's right. There's no such thing called positionless basketball. There's only positionless for like the great players, such as like a Draymond Green, Scotty Barnes, Pascal can play 1 through 4. Like certain guys like that, like LeBron, like great players are it's positionless, but alternate position, like what's his name? Jakob Poeltl can't play the 2. It's not positionless. It's only positionless for guys who can play it, and there's only a few of them that can. Like Steph Curry can't play the 3, 4, 5. He can only play 1 and 2. Let's just see it as that. So with the Pascal now, the Warriors, okay, you can get Kuminga, Moody, and Pons, or you get Kuminga and Pons. Okay, now Kuminga, you're telling Kuminga to join this team with RJ Barrett, Scotty, and Emmanuel Quickly. Well, RJ kind of still wants his touches. No matter I said he's the 4th option, he still wants his touches. Scotty, you're darn near building a team around the man. So you already said your future is Scotty, unless Kuminga becomes a superstar or quickly becomes a star. You start saying that quickly is your guy. But then quickly you want to get touches. You need a team. You can't have a bunch of guys that all want their touch. When the Raptors were back in the day, when they DeMar, Sonny Weems, Rudy, whatever, you can't have too much guys. When it was Rudy Gay and DeMar, you had to trade Rudy Gay for multiple reasons. One of the reasons was you had DeMar DeRozan. You need to develop DeMar DeRozan. Heck, Monty Ellis and Steph Curry could not grow together. You just can't. You can't have a bunch of guys that want to be number one. At least with this team knows that okay, Scotty's our future number one. Right now, Pascal plays the number one offensively, but it's really the Pascal Scotty game. Then quickly gets his shine. We're gonna let him do his thing to get comfortable because eventually next year it's gonna be Barnes, quickly, Pascal. Pascal being a third option offensively is a gift. And then you have RJ Barrett, once again, 4th option. It's a gift. That's why I think you keep this team. But if you just add a bunch of young players like a Kuminga, like a Moody, what are you doing? Now, if you get the Kings package, and if you get Keegan Murray, you're perfect. Keegan Murray is not that type of player who's going to want to be the number one guy. He doesn't have that like attitude. He's the guy that you want. Like he's the perfect match with a Quickly and a Scotty. He's the perfect match. But the Kings are not trading him because he's a perfect match with every team. Keegan Murray is he's like the OG. He's perfect everywhere. No matter where you put him, he will be perfect. He can shoot the 3. His defense got a lot better. He's like perfect. So my whole thing is that Raptor fans have to realize whoever you're getting is a young guy. You got Emmanuel Quickly now, and you have Scotty Barnes. That's your young guys. You're building them. You can't have too much guys who won't want the spot. Go to Denver. They had Gary Harris, they had Michael Porter Jr., Gary Harris, and Jamal Murray, all guys who want their shot. And you had Jokic, who's literally was becoming a superstar before everyone's eyes. Well, Jokic has to get his touch, and who else? Gary, and like there's just too much. So that's why you got Aaron Gordon to know his role, so to speak. Porter still likes to get his touch. He's still someone called a ball hawk. Like you can't have too much guys that want to touch the ball. You just can't. You need to be more balanced. Like one of the things that people had a problem with this year was that Dennis Schroeder touched the ball a lot. Now I don't think Dennis Schroeder's trying to be the number one guy. I don't think that. But you can clearly tell that Dennis wanted, or no, you can tell that the team needed to build around the two best players. Now, if you have Emmanuel Quickly and Emmanuel Quickly and Scotty Barnes, those are your two guys. Those are two guys you want to take the most shots. They and Pascal, eventually that'll be your third option. Like Pascal's never going to be the player that's like, I want my 25 shots. Pascal wants to win. That's it. Pascal wants to win. How are we going to make that happen? But if you add a Kaminga, not Moody, I don't see that, but a Kaminga or a Kobe Buffkin or even any other young additional guard slash small forward to this team, and they're more of a shoot first type of person, this team's not getting better. This team's not going to get better. You just replaced your forward with guards, and that's the issue. Don't do that. Raptor fans realize that. Like you getting Emmanuel Quickly has changed your timeline. Getting Emmanuel Quickly has changed the way this team could go moving forward. Even getting RJ Barrett, who's darn near younger than Quickly. Take that in. RJ Barrett's younger than Emmanuel Quickly. You're getting these three guys now. You have three guys who are 24 and younger because we all care about age so much. That is important. I don't know why people even look at age when it comes to Pascal. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about age. The man's still going to be a pretty good player for the next 4 years. He look at his numbers. He actually hasn't declined. His true shooting is the best it's been his whole NBA career. Especially for the past 6 weeks, he's been great. His 3-point shooting in December was at 36%. This year, he's already shooting close to 40%. If he's a 35% shooter, especially the corner threes at a 40%, why wouldn't you keep these guys? It doesn't make sense. And you can call me a Pascal stat, but at the end of the day, you can't have a bunch of young guys that all want to do the same thing. You can't have Quickly, you want him to shoot 15 to 20 times a game. Barnes, you want him to shoot 15 to 20 times games. RJ, maybe 12 to 15. Eventually, Pascal, 12 to 15. Eventually, not now. Now Pascal's still your bench offensive hub, so that's who you go through. But ultimately, that's what you eventually want. You can't have Kaminga who wants to score 20. You can't have Barnes who wants to score 20. Quickly wants to score 20. And then if you get Kobe Buffkin may want to. AJ Griffin may not. But you can't get a bunch of young guys that are going to do that. Also, draft assets. You don't want to get a bunch of draft assets in the future, maybe for trade chips eventually. But that's what you want to look for. You want to look for more draft assets if you're trading Pascal. You want for because then that'll make it better. So you can still establish Emmanuel Quickly and Scotty Barnes. But you can't get a bunch of young guys to join this team. You have your young core now. You just have to build around it. OKC, some of the best young guys in the league. But guess what? You know that Shea's number one. You know Chet's number two, especially next year. It's going to be Shea, Chet, J-Dub, who's your third. What an amazing third. And it'll be more like Shea and the two will just bounce off each other. And maybe eventually it'll be Chet and then Shea's number two. And then J-Dub's like it will get there. But you know who also wants the ball? The guy that they want to trade eventually, and that's Josh Giddey. Okay, he may not trade this year, maybe trade it next year, but Josh Giddey kind of wants to be the guy. Team, you can kind of tell he wants to be the guy. Look at the Houston Rockets. Someone has to take a step back. Who's going to be Sengun? Everyone loves, right? But if you have Sengun, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., that's your young core. But you also have like Fred is there. Eventually, you got to figure out what do you want. You have Ken Whitmore there that maybe he wants to get his touches eventually. Like you can't have too much young guys because then everybody wants to shot. Everyone wants to touch the ball. It could have been the downfall of OKC that everybody wanted to touch the ball. And it happened. Harden wasn't like that. They messed up the Harden stuff. But Westbrook and Durant couldn't get along because I think sometimes Westbrook wanted to be that number one guy. And it hurts you when you have multiple people that want to be the number one, who want to take the final shot. And it's been well documented that was an issue there. But I'm gonna end it there. I did not know I was gonna talk this long. I am gonna end it there. Like I said, check out Raptors Republic, where I am doing some FanDuel picks. Check them out; they're amazing. We actually grew a lot. The TikTok grew a lot. Like, keep pushing it. Raptors fans who are listening to this, hey, thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. The future of spicy barbecue is looking bright, and I like it. I love it. Raptors fans, have fun tonight. Hopefully they beat the Kings. We get that pizza party. Hopefully get that pizza party. That's what I really want.